Let's chat about the moment that I finally gave myself permission to do something that I have been denying myself for years. Watch football. I know, probably not exactly the spiritual awakening that you might have been expecting. No spiritual retreat in Bali, no ayahuasca ceremony, just the NFL. Sunday was not a day of rest for me. It was uninterrupted quality time with my work. No meetings, no distractions, just me and my best friend, my laptop, getting ahead for Monday. So, what happened to change all that? Burnout. It forced me to stop. And when I did, I discovered something that changed how I show up every single week. If you've ever felt guilty for resting, if Sunday feels more like preparation than presence, if you can't remember the last time that you truly stopped, this episode is for you. I'm Kimberly. Welcome back to Tiger Soul. My Sundays used to look like this: wake up bright and early before my family, before the noise, coffee in hand, laptop open, already in my inbox. I told myself this was strategy. I was getting ahead, clearing the decks so Monday wouldn't be so overwhelming for me. So here's the plot twist: Monday, it was still overwhelming every single time. It was like my inbox was this bottomless pit, and it didn't care about my Sunday sacrifice. The truth was, I didn't know how to stop. I viewed Sunday not as a day to relax and recharge, but as this uninterrupted time to purely focus on the business. There were no meetings to attend. I didn't have slacks pinging, demanding my attention, just pure productive focus. I actually thought this made me impressive. Like, look at me, look at my dedication, look at my work ethic. I don't even take Sundays off. Nobody was impressed. Nobody. Here's what was actually happening: I was training my nervous system that there was never time to rest. I was teaching myself that my worth was tied to my output. I was building this prison and calling it a business strategy. My calendar did not have a pause button, and neither did I. The crazy thing was, I didn't even know what I would do if it stopped. I had legit forgotten how to enjoy life outside of work. I had lost touch with who I was beyond my role as CEO. Without having something to optimize, to solve, or to build, I didn't know how to exist. That burnout, that was truly the only thing that finally stopped me, that saved me from myself. I would love to say that it was some kind of revelation, that I had this major breakthrough, that some wise mentor pulled me aside and showed me the error of my ways. But that is not what my body, it just stopped cooperating. I remember this very specific Sunday. I woke up, my usual intention to get into that inbox, work on the proposal, prep for Monday meetings, all the things that my Sundays typically comprised of. And I couldn't get out of bed. Not didn't want to, couldn't. My body was done. My mind was so foggy. Every cell in my body was screaming for relief. It was screaming for something radical. It was screaming for rest. So I said, F it, and I turned on football. I know that that does not sound revolutionary, but for me, someone who had not allowed herself to waste time in a very long time. It felt radical. It was like this reflex. I need to check email. I need to review this. I should literally be doing like all the things other than doing what I'm doing, which is watching grown men chase a ball. And then I made a decision just to sit here, just to watch. And before I knew it, I was back to my old self, yelling at the TV, screaming at every play. And then something really unexpected happened. For the first time in years, I was present. I was not thinking about Monday. I was not optimizing. I was just being. I was just watching. And when Monday rolled around, I showed up differently than I had in months, maybe even years. Here's what I've discovered and what I've learned since that time. Rest isn't weakness, it's a strategy. When I stopped treating rest like it was a waste of time, I started showing up differently on Mondays. I was more present, I was more regulated, I was more human. My nervous system needed a signal that was safe to stop, that there was a rhythm to my week, a time for output and a time for restoration. Without that signal, I stayed in survival mode. I was always on alert. I was always ready for the next threat, the next deadline, the next crisis. And you can't lead from survival mode. You can only survive. There's no thriving in surviving. That football game was more than entertainment. It was permission. It was permission to stop. It was permission to be a person, not just a CEO. And it was permission to exist without producing. But I discovered something else too. Permission alone wasn't enough. I needed a practice. I needed something to help make this sustainable and repeatable for me in a way that I would actually commit to. Because those old patterns, they had me in a chokehold. The pull that I felt to work, to optimize, to get ahead, that wasn't going to disappear overnight. It was something that I needed to work through. I needed a ritual, something that signaled to my whole system, my body, my mind, my soul, that this was a different kind of day. And that's how the Sunday reset was born. It's 15 minutes, it's 4 steps, and it completely transformed the way that I start every week. Not through more planning, not through more optimization. It's through release. It's through a remembering, through intention, through embodiment. The prosperity gap doesn't just show up in how you work, it also shows up in how you rest. You can have the revenue, you can have the team, you can have all the external markers of success. But if you have lost your ability to stop and rest feels like you're falling behind, you are building success on this foundation of complete depletion. And that foundation will crack. And it's usually at the worst possible time, like right before a huge meeting or during your kid's birthday party. Don't ask me how I know. So let me ask you something. When is the last time that you truly rested? Not caught up, not recovered, rested. When's the last Sunday that actually felt like a Sunday to you? When is the last time that you gave yourself permission to do absolutely nothing productive and didn't feel guilty about it? Now, if you just thought to yourself, I'll rest when the business is more stable, Congratulations. You played yourself. The business is never stable enough. That's not how businesses work or brains. If you can't remember the last time that you felt rested, you're not alone. You're just operating in the system that was never designed to protect your rest. So it's time for you to build a new one. And that's the story. Thursday, you get the ritual, the Sunday reset ritual. As I mentioned, 15 minutes, 4 steps, a complete system for releasing last week, remembering who you're becoming, setting intentions that matter, and then anchoring it all in your body. It's the practice that I use every single Sunday, and it's changed how I enter every single week, how I show up on Mondays. You'll be able to download it as a worksheet on Thursday. So hit subscribe so it's waiting for you when it drops. And while you're down there, if you hit that like button, I would appreciate it. I'll see you Thursday.